Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, you've seen me review this solar generator before. I've had one for a few months now and I've been using it ever since on a daily basis. However, I purchased another one. The reason I'm reviewing this one more time is because I am making an addition to this that will make this a very good solar generator as far as capacity. This solar generator weighs around 63 pounds. So it's roughly 15 or so pounds more than the Blue Eddy. However, it only has about 660 watt hours of storable energy, whereas the Blue Eddy has 2,400 watt hours of storable energy. Now, so far, it sounds like this isn't that great of a deal. When you think about it, this is a $600 unit if you purchase it on Amazon. I got lucky and found it on sale again at Costco for $499.99, $500. So I decided to purchase another one to put it towards a different use than what I have my first one being used for right now. I feel that this generator is the best entry generator for someone that doesn't have a lot of money, because there is something you can do with this in order to increase the capacity of electricity that you can store in it at a very cheap price. So we can get this solar generator up to more than 2,400 watt hours of stored energy for less than $1,000. In addition to that, ladies and gentlemen, this solar generator has an inverter that will provide you with 1,440 continuous watt hours of electricity output. Now, don't get me wrong, I love the Blue Eddy for what it is. However, if you're looking for an entry solar generator that you can add capacity to, and have it actually power the main things in your home that need power for an extended period of time, I believe that this is the one for you, because it is a great price and you can get more power output and more power storage for a fraction of the cost that you would spend on a more expensive lithium-ion solar generator. This solar generator here comes with an AGM battery, which is a sealed lead-acid battery. So there's no water in there. You don't have to service it, so you don't have to worry about it gassing off, which means that you can use it indoors. There's a lot of things that I really like about this solar generator. One of them is that you can replace the battery if it ever goes bad. It comes with a 55 amp hour battery. The other thing is that it's very simple to use. It's literally a one button function. And number three is that you can actually daisy chain batteries onto this. So let me go ahead and unpack this. Let me give you a quick overview of the machine. If you'd like to see the full review that I did on this a few months back, where I powered my Toyo stove and where I powered my refrigerator, I'm going to go ahead and leave a card to that video on the upper right hand corner. This is what it looks like out of the box, ladies and gentlemen. I haven't even opened the port that it has up here. But let me just show you the front really quick. This is a very simple solar generator to use. I would have to say that it's even simpler than the Blue Eddy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that have purchased a Blue Eddy in the past and already own one, don't get me wrong. I don't think that this is a better solar generator than the Blue Eddy. I think that the Blue Eddy, in my opinion, is the cream of the crop, at least for what I can get here in Alaska. This solar generator, however, I feel is a great introductory generator for people that are just starting out and that don't have that much money to spend. Whereas the Blue Eddy has a lithium-ion battery that is rated for 2,500 life cycles, this here has an AGM lead-acid battery that is only rated to between 500 and 700 life cycles. So it definitely won't last as long. However, the battery can be replaced, and you can add more batteries to this as you'd like. And that is where the value comes in this solar generator, ladies and gentlemen. In order to turn it on, all you have to do is press the power button for 2 seconds. You can hear that it turns on, the fan turns on, and it turns off right away, probably about a second or two after you start it. This is now ready to use. However, when you receive it out of the box, the instructions do say that before you use it, to make sure that you charge it. So what I'm going to do before I use this generator is I'm going to make sure that I hook it up to my AC wall outlet and charge it for at least 24 hours or so. So I won't be using this today. The front comes with two outputs that are USB outputs, just regular 5 volt 2.1 amp USB outputs. It comes with a 12-volt output like you find in your cars. And it has 4 AC outputs like you have in your house walls. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to push any buttons in order to use any of these. You can just plug in whatever it is you need to plug in and use it. There's no buttons to turn on the DC or the AC. The only button you have to deal with in this unit is just your power button. You'll also notice that right here it has a little window where a light will flash or blink as it's charging. Once it's completely full, this light will stop blinking. And we're going to go ahead and put it to charge here in a second after I show you the back and after I show you the battery compartment. And we're going to go ahead and take apart the top here to show you what the battery looks like and how simple it is to remove the battery. Now, to replace this battery, you're looking at about $100, ladies and gentlemen. So I think that is a great price. That if your internal battery ever goes bad, it's going to cost you $100 to replace it. And your solar generator will be back in action again. The back is very simple as well. As you can see here, we have our daisy chain connectors in order for you to be able to connect an external battery to this solar generator. It has your AC input. That way, if you want to charge it using your wall plug, you can just charge it by using this port. It has a wire that comes with it, and I'll show you that here in a second. And it also has a solar controller here that has an Anderson connector. That way you can connect a solar panel to this. A 100 solar panel is max. That's one of the things about this solar generator that doesn't make it great, is that it will only accept up to 100 watts of power at a time. However, for the price, I think it's a great deal. Now on the top, as I said, it has a compartment where you can store some wires and you can store your user's manual, etc. Comes out very easily. And like I said, it comes with some wires. And it comes with your user manuals, which come in different languages. And it also comes with a registration card. The wires that it comes with is the wire that it needs in order for you to plug it in and charge it from a wall outlet. And it also has a short extension cord, which when I did my first initial review, came out to be a very handy thing to have. So if you see this in there, make sure that you keep it with the unit because you'll need it eventually. Now, in order to get into the battery compartment, all you have to do is remove these 6 hex screws, and then this will lift up. So let's go ahead and do that now, see what it looks like in there. As you can see, this is our compartment in here that holds our battery. And to remove the battery is very simple, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, make sure that you read the instruction manual, but there's only 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts that you have to remove. Lift the battery out and then do everything in reverse in order for you to replace this battery. And like I said, these batteries run about $100, if not a little bit less. So now let's go ahead and put this back together and let me show you where the value in this unit really comes in. Ladies and gentlemen, before I do anything more with this, I'm going to want to make sure that it's fully charged. So let me just go ahead and show you how simple it is to go ahead and charge this. If you were charging it off of a wall plug inside your home, all you do is take this end of the wire that you were sent, just plug it in here, and then plug this into a wall outlet. And I'll show you what it looks like once you plug it in. That way you'll see what the front looks like as it's actually inputting power. So I went on and turned off my main light so that you can see better. As you can see, it's not plugged in right now. I'm going to go ahead and plug it in so you can see what it looks like. And as you can see, as soon as I plugged it in, you see that the voltage of the battery is going up. And you can see that the icon or emoji of a plug is showing, meaning that right now there is energy coming into the battery for storage. And as you can see here, it says that it's charging because the light is blinking. And you can see that the level is between 75 and 100%. While it's charging up, let me go ahead and show you what I'm using my first one for. How the first one that I bought is employed right now. Now this, ladies and gentlemen, is my Toyo heater. This is the heater that heats my entire house during the winter. And it does a great job. It runs on fuel oil, #1 fuel oil. It can also run on number 2 fuel oil. However, we use number 1 because it's cleaner and it doesn't gel up in negative temperatures. The only downfall with this heater is that it requires electricity in order for it to run, because although it runs on fuel oil, it still needs electricity in order to control the motherboard and also to control the fuel pump and the fan that helps to run it and distribute the heat throughout the house. As you can see, I have my Toyo heater connected to the Duracell power source. So this plug right here going into the Duracell power source is from my Toyo stove. I have my Duracell power source connected to the wall. As you can see right there, it's connected to the wall. You will notice that when the power source is connected to the wall, you'll see that it has the input icon right there, the little plug icon. That means that the power that is being used for my Toyo stove is coming directly from the wall outlet. It's not going through the battery or anything like that. It's going directly from the wall outlet. As long as I have the power source connected to the wall and then something connected to it, the power going to this wire is bypassing the battery and coming right from the wall outlet. And at the same time, it's keeping the battery and the power source completely full. That way, if we lose electricity, it will automatically start powering the Toyo without skipping a beat. And as you can hear, my Toyo stove is turning on right now, which is a great time for me to go ahead and show you how this works. So let's say, for example, that we lost power. I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the power source from the wall outlet, and you'll see that this changes to outputting power to my stove without my stove turning off. And as you can see, our output automatically changed to 240 watts. And you can see that now the battery is being drained from the Toyo while it's unplugged from the wall. So the Toyo is running directly from this right now instead of the wall. And it never turned off when I unplugged it. So now when we plug it back in, meaning like when the electricity comes back on, it will automatically revert to pulling power straight from the wall for the Toyo stove and also power to refill the battery. And as you can see right now, our wall outlet came back on. You can see that the battery is being charged right here also. And my Toyo is still running. This is what I use this power source for. It works great. It will run my Toyo on its own for about 4.5 to 5 hours. Now, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, my new power source is completely full. It's no longer charging. It's at 13.2 volts. So this unit is completely full. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's keep track of the math here. If you don't find these on sale, these are on my Amazon storefront because I honestly think this is a great bargain. It's a good solar generator for the price. So if you don't find these on sale, they're around $600 or so. I got lucky and found it on sale for $500. But let's go ahead and use the highest price. So let's say $600 for the power source. Now let me show you what I'm going to do with it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my solution for those of you that don't have a lot of money to purchase a solar generator that has a high output and a high storage capacity of energy. With this Duracell power source, you can add external batteries to it. Make sure you read the owner's instructions. It says that you need to add AGM batteries or lead acid batteries to these. Not necessarily just AGM, but acid batteries, lead acid batteries. So make sure that you do your homework before you go out there and purchase them. But where I'm getting at is this. At regular price, the solar generator is $600. I'm going to tell you the price of these batteries that I paid and the price that you can get them for in the lower 48. Because in the lower 48, you can get these batteries for about half as much. I paid $300 for each one of these batteries. They are 100 amp hour batteries each. So I have 200 amp hours worth of energy right here in these two batteries. I took a look at similar batteries in the lower 48s, and they're about half the price. anywhere from $150 to like $160. So I want to use that lower price because most of you that are watching this more than likely live in the lower 48, where shipping is not as expensive as it is here to Alaska. So let's start out with the solar generator. It has 660 watt hours of energy. Each one of these batteries has 100 amps. In order to convert an amp to watt hours, you just multiply it times 12. 100 times 12 is 1200. So each of these batteries has 1200 watt hours of storage capacity. So we're looking at 2400 watt hours for both batteries combined, and the 600 watt hours that come in the solar generator, that's 3000 watt hours. Now these are deep cycle batteries, and it is recommended that in order to extend the life of the battery, that you don't discharge them past 50%. However, you can discharge them to 20%, and your batteries should still last a while. But if you want your batteries to last as long as possible, don't discharge them over 50%. So let's say that we were to just not discharge these batteries to over 50%. That means that we would have 1200 watt hours, and we would have about 300 watt hours from the power source. That's roughly 50% of everything combined. That's 1500 watt hours. And although it's still less than what you would get if you purchased a 2400 watt hour Bluetti, it is considerably less for the entire system. You're looking at 600 plus 300, it's $900. You're probably going to spend about $50 or so on cables. And I'm going to show you how to put this together. That way you can see how easy it really is. I don't even think I'm going to need any tools for these batteries that I purchased. You can always add on more batteries to make up as much power as you want to have stored. So when everything's said and done, you're going to spend less than $1,000 for up to 3000 watt hours of energy in an emergency, because if it was a true emergency, you can draw these down all the way if you had to. It's just not great for the batteries if you do so. But on the average, you're going to get at least 1500 to 1600 watt hours of energy from this system, and we're paying less than $1,000 for the entire system. One of the cons is that it's a heavy system. Each of these batteries weigh about 60 pounds, and the Duracell Power Max weighs about 60 pounds as well. So you're looking at about 180 pounds. However, if you're going to use this system in a method similar than what I'm using for example, the one that I have on the Toyo stove where it's stationary and I'm not always moving it around, it doesn't matter how much weight it is, as long as your floor can hold that weight. And I'm pretty sure that anyone that lives in a modern home, their floor system can hold 180 pounds or so without a problem. Now, what I'm going to do with this system is I'm going to use it during the winter to have my deep freezer hooked up to it. However, I am looking to build a small studio in the back of my property, and I'm thinking that I'm going to go ahead and move this system to that small studio to use it as the electricity for that small studio, as a backup for that small studio, and I'll know that I always have electricity there. So before we start, what we have to do is just, I made sure that my system is off. All right, so the power is off. Then all we have to do is remove these plastic nuts out of here. So you can see that they're lined with brass, what it looks like. And it has two washers. So remove one washer and one nut from each. Easy as that. Now all you have to do is go ahead and put your wire on. Now I bought these wires at a solar place here in town, and they pre-make them. And this is the wire that I will use to hook up my positive. And this is a AWM 2-0 AWG, which I do believe that if you read the instructions, Duracell recommends that you use a 2-0 AWG. But do your own homework, ladies and gentlemen, right? There you go. I bought a heavy-duty one to connect to my first battery, and then I bought other ones that were not as thick as this to connect from battery to battery. So all we do is just put this on. Make sure, ladies and gentlemen, that when you put these on, that you do not allow the ends of the two wires to touch. As you can see, these are both connected to their respective sides. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the battery ready. And depending on what battery you get, maybe a little bit different connection than the ones I got. Once I got here, as you can see, they just have a little plastic cap protecting the lead. And now I have to go ahead and get a nut that came with it in order for me to be able to attach this to this. Now I'm going to go ahead and attach the wire to the batteries using these connectors that they came with. Pretty handy. And the wires also came with these protectors, these rubber protectors that you put on the end. I'm not going to put them on in this case because once I'm done with this video, I'm going to take this apart and then put it where I'm going to have it sit for the next 6 or 7 months or so before I put it in my studio. So very simple. All you do is bring your wire, line it up, and there you go, ladies and gentlemen. This battery is now hooked up to this power source. Now, if you want to go ahead and daisy chain from this battery to this battery, it's as simple as getting another wire. Like I said, I got a smaller wire to daisy chain it and bringing it from this one to this one. Let's go ahead and, ladies and gentlemen, do your research, okay? Because you have to make sure that you set these up in parallel and not in series, right? Parallel means that you're going to go from black to black, from red to red. Very easy. That will maintain the voltage at 12 volts. And there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Right now we have a 3,000 watt-hour system. This is a 3,000 watt-hour system that has a 1,440 watt continuous inverter, which means that you can plug in all of the appliances that you want to plug into it as long as the wattage of all of those appliances don't go above 1,440 watts. It will surge up to twice that much. So for example, if you have 1,440 watts being pulled from this solar generator and you have a surge because maybe the compressor in your refrigerator turns on and it surges up a few hundred watts, it will surge all the way up to 2,880 watts, which is pretty awesome. The downfall of the system, I would say, is the weight and the input capacity, meaning that it will only accept about 100 watts of input power to charge it at any one time. Those are the two things that I think are a big negative for this system. However, like I said, if you're going to use this as a stationary system, where you're going to put it in a centralized location within your home so that you can bring extension cords and things to it and plug into it to power your refrigerator, your freezer, your personal electronic devices, your CPAP machines, etc. I think it's an outstanding system. And for less than $1,000, ladies and gentlemen. That's the big deal with this. You're getting 3,000 watt hours for less than $1,000. If you do the math and drain them down to 20%, then you're getting 2,400 watt hours. If you do the math and drain them down to only 50%, you're still getting 1,500, a little over 1,500 watt hours out of it. But the price is the big. All right, let's go ahead and turn this on, ladies and gentlemen. I went ahead and dim the lights down so that we can see it turn on. And then I'm going to put it to charge to see what it shows. So here's on. And as you can see, we have 12.8 volts. Everything is showing full. But let's see what happens when we turn it on to charge. There you go. And as you can see, even though the system itself was full before we attached the batteries, it seems that those batteries weren't completely full. So now the system is charging the batteries as well. One thing that I would say about this, ladies and gentlemen, is this: whenever I get a new solar generator of any kind, for the first 1 or 2 times that I fully charge it and that I put it to charge and use it, I am always there. I am always within a few steps away because I want to make sure that nothing overheats or overcharges or anything like that. However, one of the things that I do like about this generator is that if it starts to overheat, it'll tell you. It'll signal that it's overheating, and it will tell you that it's overheating so that you can stop it from charging. Although it does have a charge controller that should not allow it to overheat. It'll actually just keep it on a floating stage where there's power going through it, but no power is really consumed. It's just keeping the batteries completely full. All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, I hope you got something out of this, and I hope it encourages those of you that are looking for a solar generator to go ahead and jump in and start small. Like I said, I think this is a great system for what it is and the price. I mean, for less than $1,000, ladies and gentlemen, you can get everything that I showed you right here. And as you can see, it's very easy to put together, and it's even easier to maintain. Having said that, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you got something out of this. Thank you very much for joining in. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. This is Alaska Prepper. I am out.